We now descend from the sky above the iceberg to the tip of the iceberg itself, and reach Tier 2 of the deepest YouTube iceberg. Tier 2 is the addict tier, and its description reads, "To these people, YouTube is their life. Everything here is generally well known in YouTube culture, including popular weird creators and popular controversies." The first entry on this layer of the iceberg is YouTube poops. YouTube poops are a style of video that have a very distinct and that are very distinctly edited with mashed up sentences and stuttering phrases and increased volume in certain areas and various types of edits like that. There isn't really any way to describe the style of YouTube poops other than, at least in general, as many different YouTube poop creators have their own editing styles. But generally, it's just comedic and chaotic edits of pre-existing media. YouTube poops were created, surprisingly enough, before YouTube itself in 2004, when the user on the cheesy art forums, Super Yoshi, posted a video called "The Adventures of Super Mario 3 Remix," which, as the name suggested, was a very basic, rudimentary YouTube poop of The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, edited in Windows Movie Maker, and repeatedly featuring the phrase, "Wow, I'd say he's hot on our tail." Early YouTube poops are most popular in the late 2000s and early 2010s, where they often feature clips from the Zelda and Mario CDI games, as well as old 90s video game cartoons. However, as YouTube poops expanded and grew, the range of what could be considered acceptable for YouTube poop grew more and more, and now pretty much anything can be used in a YouTube poop. There are also YouTube poop music videos, which are reconstructions of pre-existing music made from samples of various different sources and edited together in the YouTube poop style. Google Plus. Google Plus was a social media website that Google had created as a rival to Facebook, and it failed due to a variety of factors, including the fact that just no one wanted to use it, and it was overly complicated, and there were a lot of security and data breaches. However, most of the information about Google Plus isn't really relevant here. The reason it's on this iceberg is because, and its relation to YouTube is because, well, for the brief period of time Google Plus existed, Google to increase the amount of users on the platform made it mandatory for YouTube users. If you didn't know, Google owns YouTube, but Google made it mandatory for YouTube users to have a Google Plus account in order to comment. However, they got rid of this once, people called them out for it and said it was really stupid, and they're just piggybacking off the success of YouTube. Asdfmovie. Asdfmovie is a 14-episode long series created by YouTuber Tomska, which began in 2008 and has continued to this day. Each episode of the series is an animated collection of very short skits, heavily relying on surprising the viewer in order as like their main form of comedy. That and a lot of death. Some of the humor, especially in the early episodes, is dated, but that kind of adds to the charm of it more than anything. And it's kind of amazing that the series is still popular despite it having been created in 2008. And even the creator agrees that it should have died in 2008. But the series also has several running jokes throughout it, and many of these running jokes have been made into music videos, such as "Everybody Do the Flop," "I Like Trains," and then a couple more, but the main one everyone probably knows about is the Muffin Song, which is the most viewed video on this channel. Also, side note, the Muffin Song on YouTube currently has a self-game and warning disclaimer thingy, because it's about a muffin that wants to be eaten. Which, yeah, good job, YouTube, putting your content warnings to good use there. MLG parodies. MLG parodies were a style of memes that were popular in 2014 and 2015, where people would super over-edit videos in ways that often poked fun at gamer culture, with things like Mountain Dew, Doritos, Illuminati eyes, stuff like that. And the editing style would be like just super overloaded, both visually and audibly, and just being super loud, pictures everywhere. And in many ways, you could probably say it was the predecessor to modern 21st century humor memes, where everything is just overloaded and post-ironic. 10-hour loops. Yeah, this one's it's pretty self-explanatory. People will take something that's funny and easily repeatable, like a song, and then they will loop it for 10 hours and make a video after that. Yeah, I have to stretch these segments out to 15 seconds, by the way, so that chapters on YouTube. So it will let me make a chapter on YouTube because you can't make them into chapters unless they're 15 seconds, which is why I overly explain that, even though this explanation only got me 30 seconds, so it's whatever. Jake Paul. Jake Paul is the brother of Logan Paul, and he's an obnoxious, annoying YouTuber who makes really crappy kids content. But what separates him from all the other YouTubers is how long he's been around and just the sheer scope of what he's done. I already talked in the previous tier about the forest, Logan Paul's forest, but Jake was not directly involved in that. He did receive some of the repercussions from it, like being fired from a Disney TV show. He was working called Bizarre Bark. But while Logan Paul was able to recover and redeem himself by being like a more generally humble person, Jake Paul, on the other hand, continued thriving in controversies. He made a garbage song called "It's Everyday, Bro." And they made another song with a very unsettled merch drop in it. And it's even argued by some of these songs might be like purposely bad. And then he made a movie called The Thinning. And he was like caught looting a store in Arizona, and recently, he's become a boxer. Although he only fights like really old boxers that haven't had a major fight in years, and it's all very much just staged. And he's also started shilling out cryptocurrencies. So yeah, basically just the bingo of bad YouTuber things, aside from like actually terrible person things, which trust me, we'll get to some of those YouTubers later. But yeah, Jake Paul, he's just generally just terrible, bad person. It's also, he's almost forgot, he also has made some like courses on how to be a YouTuber, which are just scams. CallmeCarson Controversy. So there's going to be a lot of NSFW entries on this iceberg. And for those entries, I am going to say a word before them to indicate them because I don't want to, say. I'm just going to say NS before all of them. So, yeah. And I'll put, NS in the description. I don't really bother with that on the first tier because there were only two. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more later on. So, yeah, this one's NS. CallmeCarson Controversy. CallmeCarson is a popular variety YouTuber. And around 2 years ago, it came up that he was sexting an underage fan. However, I use that term underage really lightly because Carson was only 19 at the time he did that, and the fan in question was 17. So yeah, it's not quite as bad as it sounds on the surface. That being said, it was still a bad thing, and in addition to people upset at him for sexting an underage fan, people were mad at him for generally just being perverted and using his audience to manipulate people. Many of his friends also claimed that they were trying to help him work through a tough time in his life and get over him being a pervert, but that he didn't change enough, and so they abandoned him. Eventually, the controversy resulted in Carson leaving YouTube. However, due to the fact that these allegations were very minor compared to some things that a lot of other YouTubers have done, people started over the course of the months that he was gone being like, yeah, we kind of forgive him. And because it wasn't like he was 45 and dating a 12-year-old or anything like that, foreshadowing. But and so as a result, 1 year later, Carson returned to YouTube, and yeah, now he's still doing what he did. He's just still he's just making the same content he did before he got banned. That being said, though, he has lost a lot of connections with some of the previous YouTubers he had, such as Jay Slap. 5-Minute Crafts. So 5-Minute Crafts is the 12th most subscribed channel on YouTube and currently has over 77.2 million subscribers. So you're probably thinking, or not, it's 5-Minute Crafts. If there's 12th most subscribed video channel on YouTube, they probably make some really good content, right? No, they don't. They do not. They are a soulless corporation owned by the soulless corporation, the Soul Publishing, which owns the following: 5-Minute Crafts, Brightside, 123 Go, Avocado Couple, La La Life, Teen Z, Baby Zoo, Slick Slime, Sam, and Polar, and some weird Hatsune Miku ripoff called Polar, trying to use in the multiverse, because of course. But yeah, their channel makes these stupid videos which are never 5 minutes long. They're always 10 minutes long, and they're compilations of of awkward actors trying to make quote unquote crafts that have never taken 5 minutes. And Jarvis Johnson describes them best as overly complicated solutions to problems that no one has ever had. That vegan teacher is a very controversial content creator. She started out making TikToks where she just promoted veganism in a normal way, but she kind of went off the deep end. Her content basically is just her harassing people that aren't vegans now, and just being like, hey, be vegan, you're a terrible person. But that's not the only reason she's hated. Because obviously that alone would be enough to get her hate, including by other vegans. But later, she proceeded to do a bunch of horrible stuff, including comparing veganism to the Holocaust, which is obviously bad. Saying that coming out as LGBTQ is selfish, but coming out as vegan is harder. And then in one stream, she accidentally said the N-word, and while people would have been more likely to forgive her if she had just left it at that, she instead decided to double down on it and claim that banning the N-word is wrong. And she also made a video where she told Gordon Ramsay to be vegan, who then made a vegan burger and joked about being vegan for the day. But joked about being vegan he was vegan for the day, but he joked about being vegan for life. And she, for some reason, thought that he was not joking. And when told that he was joking, she responded by calling him the devil. And worst of all, she has made very creepy sexual jokes about two members of the Dream SMP, Tommy and Dream himself, despite both of them being minors at the time she made them. YouTube headquarters shooting. Yes, this one is an S, and it's just sad. Which resulted in 3 people injured, and thankfully only 1 person dead. The shooting was conducted by someone who was a YouTuber themselves named Nazim Sabes. I'm butchering that name. I can't find a lot of information about her, but it's, she was it seems like her motivation was just that she hated YouTube and thought that they were personally attacking her channel due to like some kind of mental illness, I think. Though I can't find 100% backup of that. She drove away from the headquarters and was found later having shot herself to death. And yeah, it's really just more sad than anything. All of her channels have been terminated by YouTube, obviously. Imagine not commenting. This refers to a copy pasta which goes like the following. Imagine not commenting. Minecraft, ASMR, PewDiePie, 6, music, Fortnite, Markiplier. YouTube is a perfectly balanced game with no exploits. 8. RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Shadowlands, Dream, MrBeast, Warzone, FaZe Clan, 100 Thieves, Call of Duty, Pokemon, Pokemon cards, card unboxing, Charizard, They Don't Want You to Know, Flat Earth, Round Earth, Triangle Earth, The Earth is Not Earth, What Even Is Earth If Not Earth, OMG Government Is Lying to You, Minecraft, ASMR, PewDiePie, Music, Fortnite, Markiplier, YouTube is a perfectly balanced game with no exploits, RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Shadowlands, PogChamp, MrBeast, Warzone, FaZe Clan, 100 Thieves, Call of Duty, Pokemon, Halo, Devil May Cry, YouTube is a perfectly balanced game with no exploits, CoComelon, T-Series, Minecraft, ASMR, PewDiePie, Music, Fortnite, Markiplier, YouTube is a perfectly balanced game with no exploits, RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Shadowlands, Dream, MrBeast, Warzone, FaZe Clan, 100 Thieves, Call of Duty, Pokemon, Pokemon cards, card unboxing, Charizard, They Don't Want You to Know, Flat Earth, Round Earth, Triangle Earth, The Earth is Not Earth, What Even Is the Earth If Not Earth, OMG Government Is Lying to You, Minecraft, ASMR, PewDiePie, Music, Fortnite, Markiplier, YouTube is a perfectly balanced game with no exploits, RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Shadowlands, Dream, MrBeast, Warzone, FaZe Clan, 100 Thieves, Call of Duty, Pokemon, Halo, Devil May Cry, YouTube is a perfectly balanced game with no exploits, CoComelon T-Series. So, if it wasn't obvious from that, this is a copy pasta in which you paste in basically just as many keywords as there are variations of it, but basically the general thing is you paste just as many keywords as you possibly can, and therefore YouTube's algorithm will think that your video has to do with all those things, and then it will, be more likely to promote those videos when you search those things. And now that I've said all of them, I can put that comment on the description or in the video, and technically it'll be fully related to the video, and it will give me a video and algorithm boost without counting as me exploiting the algorithm or anything. YouTube is a perfectly balanced game with no exploits. 2,160 pixel videos. So videos on YouTube have different quality levels that they can be set to. These quality levels from lowest to highest are 144p, 240p, 360p, 480p, 720p, and almost every video can go up to 723. But then most videos that are commonly watched by people go up to the highest normal quality option, which is 1080p. However, there are some videos that have, as this entry's name would suggest, a 2160p quality. The reason why only some videos have this is because it's a very high pixel quality that's hard to achieve without specific cameras. And so as such, most of the videos that have these levels of quality require a very specific camera or a very specific recording software to process it, or both. I'm not an expert in this, but this is what I can figure, but the best of what I can figure out. So yeah, and because of this, there aren't very many of these videos, and the main selling point of these videos is that they have such a high quality. Content Cop. Content Cop was a series created by YouTuber iDubbbz, where he took down other YouTubers. What separates Content Cop from the thousands of other copy and paste commentary channels is the fact that he was actually funny in them, and he went above and beyond with his jokes, doing things like going into the sewers and like writing an entire children's book just to make fun of other YouTubers. The series was extremely popular, and most of the YouTubers that were covered by him ended up receiving irrecoverable blows to their careers afterward, mostly due to the fact that iDubbbz was it was just too funny, and a lot of people that watched them would naturally side with him more because of that fact alone, along with the fact that he just didn't really care about any criticism that came his way. The series was discontinued around 4 years ago due to the fact that the series contained a lot of edgy jokes in it, and YouTube just isn't a platform that can allow those kinds of jokes anymore if you want to have a sustainable career. Meatcanyon. Meatcanyon is a YouTube channel owned by another YouTuber named Papa Meat, which has over 4 million subscribers, and is a small animation studio that makes short animations around 1 to 3 minutes long usually, which are most well known for their extremely disturbing and surreal art style that often used to depict certain characters, typically ones from TV shows meant for children or or like games meant for children, or YouTubers that appeal to children. You get what I'm trying to say. Like typically depict them in horrific manners as like these eldritch horrors, and the shorts have a weird tone that fluctuates between comedy and horror, which, to be fair, in surrealism, the line between those two things isn't that far. Or I mean, it's very, very thin in surrealism. Ricegum. Ricegum was the YouTuber most popular in 2017 to 2019, but his views began to fall over time. He got popular by making fun of cringy content, and and he was actually a pretty like normal, humble YouTuber. But due to the fact that he started getting success really quickly, he ended up kind of growing a bit of an ego, and this ended up making his he ended up he ended up becoming the thing he sought to destroy, and ended up acting exactly like all those cringy YouTube channels that just yell all the time at kids. And could have worded that better. No, he yelled. A YouTuber that like is really loud to yell at the kids. Not he didn't yell at kids, but at the his channel ultimately ended up dying down in around 2019 due to a result of a combination of things, namely the fact that his content became the thing he set to destroy, his growing ego, and he's constantly flexing his money on his younger viewers. It's much lower upload schedule, and worst of all, the fact that shortly after Christmas he uploaded a video in which he promoted a mystery box website claiming that it could give you like a bunch of expensive items, which was very obviously a scam. But keep in mind his audience was mostly children, so yeah, it didn't go over too well, and he got bashed for it. 500 internal server error, a team of monkeys. So a 500 internal server error is something that I'm not even gonna pretend to understand, but I think it has something to do with like something at YouTube is not working, and so you can't access the page because of that. And when that happens, it will display a page where it will tell you have 500 internal server error. And as a joke, YouTube has written on this page that pops up, "Sorry, something went wrong. A team of highly trained monkeys has been dispatched to deal with this situation. If you see them, send them this information as text. Screenshots frighten them." And then the error code, along with an image of a monkey with a baseball cap and a hammer. Surreal Entertainment. Surreal Entertainment is a YouTube channel that has almost 2 million subscribers and uses a sort of low quality animation style, but low quality in the intentional good sense of the word. The characters in those animations will often slide around and merge through things, which is very much intentional and contributes to the videos, which, like Meatcanyon, fluctuate and walk on the line between horror and comedy. The animations often are about things that are popular at the time, such as Squid Game or She-Hulk or whatever. But the animations also will sometimes feature objects just replaced by the words of like the name of the object, both as a means of not having to animate them as well as for comedy. And for whatever reason, the animations repeatedly feature Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory and Kanye West as recurring characters. They also use almost solely use text-to-speech in their dialogue, often with distorted voices. YouTuber movies. So, throughout the years, several YouTubers have gotten popular enough to warrant their own movie. And because, they want to step out of the YouTube bubble and expand horizons, and also because they want money. And here I have a list of all of them, so that I don't have to, copy and paste every single poster. So the films are Ryan and Cena's Not So Excellent Adventure by NikocadoAavocado, not going to attempt to pronounce that. Fred the Movie, Fred 2, Light of the Living Fred, and Fred 3, Camp Fred, all made by Fred. Go away. Kickasia by Channel Awesome. Suburban Nights by Channel Awesome. To Boldly Flee by Channel Awesome. Atop the Fourth Wall, the movie by Lightbringer. Airplane Mode by Logan Paul. Smosh the Movie by Smosh. Not Cool by Shane Dawson. Fuck the Prom by Fine Brothers Entertainment. Yes, those Fine Bros, the ones that just record videos of people reacting to things. You know, obviously the movie was the next logical step from that. Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie by Cinemassacre, otherwise known as Angry Video Game Nerd. Smiley by Shane Dawson and Tobuscus. The Thinning by Logan Paul. The Thinning New World Order, also by Logan Paul. Laser Team by Rooster Teeth. Laser Team 2, also by Rooster Teeth. Ashens and the Quest for the Game Child by Ashens. Ashens and the Polybus Heist by, again, Ashens. Snervious Tyler Oakley by Tyler Oakley. Expelled by Cameron Dallas. Joe and Casper Hit the Road by Thatcher Joe and Casper. Joe and Casper Hit the Road USA by Thatcher Joe and Casper. Space Cop by Red Letter Media. Adventures in Game Chasing by the Game Chasers. A Trip to Unicorn Island by Lily Singh. Natural Born Pranksters by Roman Atwood. Vlogs, How to Prank It Up, and Vitalizy DTV. Movie Trailers, A Love Story by John Campea. And Late in America by KSI and Casper. Etika's Self-Termination NS. Etika's Self-Termination is in reference to the YouTuber Etika, who had mental health issues and was constantly bullied by both his fanbase and other fanbases and piece of shit YouTubers like KSI. And due to this and being overworked and working on YouTube, which is a stressful job, especially for someone like him, it resulted in declining mental health. He constantly talked about wanting to kill himself, which everyone, including his fan base and, again, pieces of shit like KSI regarded as jokes. And eventually it wasn't a joke anymore. And he, well, it never was, but eventually he committed, self-termination. And it's really just sad. But it did bring a lot of awareness to mental health issues in YouTube, at least for the time. So, yeah, I don't want to talk about this one for super long because it does kind of feel bad to be, like, profiting off of it in a way, so I'm only going to make this 1 minute long. Gucci Gang. Well, this is possibly the biggest fucking tonal shift of all time. But yeah, Gucci Gang is it's a music video created by the music artist Lil Pump, and it's garbage. It's a really bad song, and most of the lyrics just consist of Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, which is said a total of 53 times throughout the entire song, and almost all of the comments are just universally just making fun of it for how terrible and annoying it is. The fact that it also has over 1 billion views definitely isn't helping its popularity. NikocadoAavocado. NikocadoAavocado is probably the most popular mukbang YouTuber. Mukbangs, for those who don't know, are a genre of video in which people just eat a shit ton of food, and it's really disgusting. And NikocadoAavocado obviously has gained a lot of weight from this. At the start of his channel, he actually claimed to be vegan, and probably was, but abandoned that, and yeah, he definitely no longer is. He also constantly says that his fat is just water weight, which is mostly just a meme, and he has like freakouts on his videos, and it's hard to tell how much of this is like his actual declining mental state and how much of this is him just acting for the views of the video. And as of a couple months ago, he ended up breaking one of his ribs, and though he claims it wasn't from his weight almost certainly played some factor in it. And yeah, he stopped uploading 4 weeks ago and recently re-uploaded and started uploading again only 3 days ago. In fact, he uploaded a video saying my final video, which I do not believe for 1 second. But yeah, there's a lot more I could talk about there, and the rabbit hole goes deep, but I'm not gonna go super in depth into it. Yeah. Also, he has an OnlyFans account, so do with that curse knowledge what you will. HowToBasic. HowToBasic is a YouTube channel which, on first glance, appears to be a pretty normal video of how that teaches people to do things via tutorials like cooking food and occasionally other stuff like lock picking, but the majority of it is cooking food. However, if you watch the videos for long enough, well, they start off as normal tutorials. Eventually, they devolve into insanity and generally end up, and something goes wrong somewhere along the way that eventually, and it will often result in some kind of weird, surreal, comedic scenario, which can range from anything from the house being filled with noodles to eggs being thrown everywhere to him smashing the thing you're trying to remove the store lock from with the snow shovel, and it's just it's yeah, I don't have anywhere I'm going with that. Yeah, that's what the channel is. It has over 7 million subscribers as well. Cryaotic NS. Cryaotic was a YouTuber who he was a really popular YouTuber, and he was so popular. He played horror games, and he was so popular to the point where he even managed to collaborate with PewDiePie, and then he lost all his fame because he had sexual relations with multiple of his fans, several of which were minors. I wanted to do this iceberg to cover a bunch of interesting and a bunch of interesting and creepy and mysterious videos, and hidden videos and things like that. But we'll get to those things eventually. I just have to get through all these obnoxious controversies on the second tier, which are just uninteresting. They're all the same. Anyway, yeah, this is a YouTuber, and yeah, it's what I just explained is pretty much all I have to say. He did later come out with an apology video where he's like, "Guys, I'm sorry, I was in a dark place," because being in a dark place means you have to fuck children. That's the only logical. That's the only thing you can do if you're a little sad. But yeah, his Twitter accounts has been changed to say like coming back soon, but this hasn't happened yet and hasn't for 2 years. So, or well, a little over 1 year. I mean, but yeah, so probably nothing. So he probably won't come back, and hopefully he never will. Tide Pod challenge. So around 4 years ago in January, there was this meme where people would like edit images of food and replace the food with a Tide Pod, making fun of how the Tide Pod looks like food, where even though it's very obviously not food, and because eating it will cause a bunch of terrible things like chemical burns, internal bleeding, vomiting, and in worst cases seizures and potentially very deadly things. But don't eat them. But this meme kind of went a little bit out of control when a couple of people started actually eating Tide Pods and calling it the Tide Pod Challenge. Then media sensationalization came into the picture, and it spiraled completely out of control. And a bunch of people started making these videos. It wasn't there was a, it. I say completely out of control. It wasn't like a big epidemic, but there were several dozens of people that ate the Tide Pods and suffered severely because of it. And it got to the point where YouTube had to start taking action to delete any videos about the Tide Pod challenge that weren't actively denouncing it. And Tide Pods and Tide themselves had to make a PSA saying like, no, don't eat chemicals, washing chemicals. Christchurch shooting footage, NS. So in 2019, there was an Islamophobic terrorist, who shot up a mosque in Christchurch, New Zealand, and he was such a piece of shit that he live streamed it to Facebook, and the video then circulated around the web, eventually landing on YouTube. Though all recordings of it on YouTube have obviously been deleted, but they garnered quite a lot of views before they were deleted. The video can still be found if you look hard enough for it, but it definitely cannot be found on YouTube. Glowing 1000-degree knife videos. Glowing 1000-degree knife videos are a genre of videos that was really popular in 2016 and 2017, and they consisted of people using blowtorches to make a knife super hot. I don't know if it was actually 1000 degrees. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm not like that well versed in chemistry, so to me it sounds like an unrealistic number that they lied about, but what do I know? And they'd use it to just cut things. And some part of people's monkey brains, especially children, really like these videos. Oh, by the way, they're also all set to royalty-free soundtracks anyway. But some part of people's monkey brains, especially children's, really like these videos. So, like, it just triggers some, like, sort of satisfaction in our minds. So because of that, they became really popular, and likewise then ended up becoming a meme, which was a meme around the same time as all those Lorax memes. So yeah. Sam Pepper NS. Sam Pepper is a YouTuber he was a prank YouTuber, very popular in the 2010s, and he was he was so popular that he managed to go on the British version of Big Brother. Um, but his career eventually came plummeting down as well. He had gotten into several small controversies, but the major controversy came when he did a quote unquote prank where he sexually harassed women in public. And everyone accused him of, sexually harassing women in public, which he did. So then he made a second video where he paid a woman to sexually harass men, and he claimed that it was all just him acting and talking about being like a PSA on people caring more about the sexual harassment of women than of men. This is obviously a bullshit though, because of the people in the videos where he sexually harassed women came out and spoke about it and accused him of worse things like the R word as well. And everyone was against him at that point, except of course the shitbag Keemstar. Um, and things only got worse as he made the killing best friend prank. You can't make this shit up if you tried. But yeah, in this prank, he kidnapped one of his friends and his friend's best friend, and then pretended to kill his friend's best friend. But it was all just an elaborate prank. It's just a prank, bro. So yeah. Then this, along with all the other terrible things he done, resulted in him getting completely banned from like YouTube as a whole, and so he became a Twitch streamer where he still had controversies with multiple the people he worked with, so like the cameraman mainly that worked with him in Ice Poseidon, accusing him of being toxic and manipulative, and him then going out against them and accusing them of having having procreation with animals. Um, but anyway, that's mostly where it ends for his YouTube career. He also eventually gave up on Twitch and then became a TikToker, which he is now, and now just goes back to making shitty pranks. And he's been scamming people pretty much. Important videos / instant regret clicking on this playlist memes. So these are two playlists which contain meme videos, and well, actually, they contain very short meme videos that can be watched quickly in succession, and both ended up becoming very popular. For important videos, you've probably seen it before. It's the one with Yee as the first video. That's the one with like the dinosaur goes pop 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 Yee. So if you haven't seen the playlist, you've at least seen that. The playlist got really popular in 2017, and the original playlist was deleted, but I have found recreations of it, and they seem to vary between 310 to 330 videos. As for important, what's it called? Instant regret clicking on this playlist. That one is still very popular to this day. It's been popular for several years, and people have made a bunch of reactions to it, but it's still popular to this day. And I think it's still getting updated to this day because it has 3.3 thousand videos on it, and the most recent one is Walter White and Mario Kart, which was a very recent video that came out and hit trending. An Old Man's Advice. There are actually two videos titled An Old Man's Advice, but both uploaded by YouTube channel Bernard Albertson. These videos are, I'm just going to cover both of them because they're like the same, they both fulfill the same purpose as the Sig Tree. So what happened, so basically these videos are of an old man who explains his life story and talks about him being how in his childhood he was poor and he had to work 90 hours a week at a gas station and steal food to survive. But he managed to become better. He managed to educate himself, and now he's a successful author who's published over 20 novels. Um, and in this video, he, after explaining that, tells young people that they're the backbone of the world and the future leaders of it, and gives them advice like they should never give up and they can accomplish anything they want in life. You should never stop learning. That you should stay educated. That pain is temporary. You should work hard. That you should be yourself, and you shouldn't be afraid of going after what you need. This video is one of those. Well, those videos are those videos that the algorithm just picks up and decides to get a ton of views randomly. EDP445 NS. I'm sure most of you have heard about this one, but if you haven't, EDP445 is a YouTuber whose name stands for Eat That Pussy, which has aged like shit. But regardless, he's a YouTuber who he was a really popular YouTuber because like he was just really crass and didn't care about demonetization. But eventually he fell when he was caught in 4K, like literally trying to quote unquote eat a cupcake at someone's house. In other words, he was trying to diddle kids. But yeah, thankfully he didn't actually go through with it. But as a result of this incident, he was banned from basically every social media platform and now is trying to get jobs elsewhere, and that is completely and utterly failing, as every place he's been hired by has quickly fired him, and his life has basically fallen apart since then. Weird kids videos. This one I'm not really going to talk about because it seems kind of redundant when you take into account the fact that there's another entry on the final, which is actually the final entry on this tier of the iceberg. Well, don't go to the end of this video because this tier is going to be 2 parts. But yeah, well, at the end of part 2 of this, I'll get to the actual it's also gay. But anyway, but yeah, so I'm not going to talk about it here. But yeah, just know that there are weird kids videos. Later, I will go more into detail when we get to the Elsa Gate entry. Scare PewDiePie Season 2. In the early to mid-2010s, PewDiePie got a YouTube Red TV show called Scare PewDiePie, which was where him, along with several other creators that they brought on for collaborations, would undergo physical challenges and based off of like different horror games. And the series was very popular, and this resulted in them filming and making a 2nd season. However, before the 2nd season released, as it was undergoing editing and production, just as it was about to release, PewDiePie got into the hate speech controversy, which actually appears later on this iceberg. Later on this tier of the iceberg. I don't know why the creator of the iceberg didn't put that before this, but whatever. And as such, the season was never released and is considered lost media, though PewDiePie wants it to be released. This video has N views. This is a YouTube video uploaded by YouTuber Tom Scott, which has a title that changes due to code that Tom Scott wrote into the title. And as such, the video's title constantly updates to the current amount of views that the video has. I mean, not exactly, but still. It has, right at the moment this video is titled, this video has 59,440,814 views, which is the exact number of views that the video has. As for the contents of the video itself, the first half of the video is him talking about the code he wrote to YouTube, and the second part of the video is him talking about how codes like this used to be easier to create due to websites interacting with each other more, but due to the way code changes and on the way bots change and the way people have to keep updating their software, everything is going to eventually change. All this code ends up changing, and the code of YouTube is eventually going to keep changing to the point where this title of the video will no longer function correctly. And as such, this video will kind of lose the thing that made it go viral, but it will remain important because of what he talks about in the video, and then he ties this all into like entropy and how everything will fall over time. This is America. This is America, full title, Childish Gambino. This is America official video. This is a YouTube music video uploaded by the YouTuber, well, I mean, it's not really, whatever, by the music artist Donald Glover. The music video was insanely popular, and it had like a lot of memes and YouTube poofs and parodies based off of it. And a lot of people kind of, not necessarily miss, but just sort of, kind of just got lost in translation. The original meaning of the song, as the original song was actually about, you know, basically just how bad America is. Everything really. Um, the actual lyrics of the song aren't super obvious about this, but the music video definitely is. The music video is filmed in one is probably the most impressive thing about it, and it's filmed in like one continuous shot in this car garage with like the only cut being made towards the end of the video. With everything, and the music video is filled with several hidden messages. Well, not necessarily hidden. There's some obvious things like the violence going on everywhere, and you know, Donald shooting someone, and including a church choir of people. But throughout the video, there are several other like small things. Like for example, he mimics expressions of the Jim Crow caricature. He wears overalls that were associated with not overalls, but he wears clothing associated with the South during the Civil War. He there's this hooded figure resembling the biblical depiction of death, or the horseman of death, in the book of Revelations, riding along in the background in one scene. In all the scenes where the violence is happening, it's sort of implied that like you can kind of see like how he's dancing in the center, which depending on how you interpret it could represent either people ignoring the problems of the world and just seeking entertainment, or attempting to use entertainment as a form of persevering against the problems of the world. And there's also he also wears golden chains around his neck, which are reference to slavery, and like there's a bunch of other things, but these are just some of like the main core details of this. If I super in-depth analyzed every video we talked about, I'd be on here for a long time. There's also like a line where where he's like, I'm so Gucci, I'm so pretty, where it's probably like talking about how rich people are just obsessed with fashion and like looking cool and stuff when there are, you know, people suffering and dying around them. There's a part of the video where he's dancing on top of a car in this car garage filled with used cars, which is all like, which is a reference to like things not changing in America. But yeah, those are all the main ones that I can at least find out. Ohmwrecker Controversy. Ohmwrecker Controversy. This refers to Ohmwrecker. He was a popular gaming YouTuber and was in a group called the Vanos Gaming Crew. But basically he lost a bunch of his followers because he did a bunch of toxic things, namely emotionally manipulating his ex-girlfriend, and accusing several other members of the group of serious things like kid diddling. And yeah, that's basically all. That's basically this whole thing in a nutshell. He was a YouTube creator that turned out to be toxic, and that's the controversy. YouTube Heroes. YouTube Heroes was a program that YouTube started in around 2017, which was where basically people could sign up to be a YouTube hero, and they'd be able to like help YouTube moderate content by adding community captions and like helping moderate comments and stuff like that. Which in general, these options didn't seem like horrible ideas. I mean, flagging community captions could easily be abused, but what really made everyone upset was the mass flag videos. At one point, they say you can mass flag videos during it if you get to a high enough level as the YouTube heroes, because it had some weird level system. This was insanely backlashed against by the YouTube community, and YouTube took the idea down. They did kind of reinvent it in the form of like, what's it called? The YouTube contributors, which do a lot of the same things that YouTube Heroes was supposed to do, just minus the stupid level system, and not able to mass flag videos, obviously. Yeah. I'm the bald guy. So in 2019, Billie Eilish's song "Bad Guy" went viral, and there was a YouTuber by the name of Seth Everman, who created a video called "How to Make Billie Eilish's Bad Guy," and it was like a parody where he was using like a brush and a pan, and it was only 46 seconds long. And that video also became really popular, becoming one of the most viewed videos that year. And Seth Everman commented on the official "I'm the Bad Guy" music video, "I'm the bald guy" because he is bald. And this comment became the most liked comment on YouTube with over 3.3 million likes. Views. So this comment then people thought that the comment got deleted because it disappeared from the video, but the reason for that has to do with like YouTube's algorithm wanting to like recycle comments so that one comment doesn't stay up forever, and for some reason the comment hasn't been highlighted. Oh, also Seth Everman got a special like reward from YouTube for the most liked comment, which is like a unique reward that no one else has gotten since. Vtubers. Vtubers, a Vtuber is when someone uses a complex like camera system to create a virtual anime, often anime avatar that mimics what they're doing in real life. This is a form of YouTubing that first started in 2016 with Kazuna AI, and this was in 2016, but they didn't really become popular until around 2020, likely due to the pandemic and the fact that HoloLive, the main company that makes VTubers, that has VTubers work for them, I guess would be a better way of wording it, released their first English division of VTubers. And because of this, and then they became popular because, you know, why would you want to watch a normal person play a video game when you could watch an anime girl do it? Yeah. There's two other major VTuber groups, VShojo and Niji Sanji, and they're almost solely do live streaming on either YouTube or Twitch. And they almost solely consist, with the exception of Niji Sanji, they almost solely consist of females.
When you find a new VTuber, but they won't show you their thighs.
YandereDev. YandereDev is just a horrible human being, unhinged rant time. So YandereDev has been working on this game called Yandere Simulator since 2015, and this game was really popular when like the first demo of it came out because Markiplier played it. And so this game is a game where you play as this girl, and you want to fall in love with this guy at the school that the girl goes to, and so you have to kill all the people that he's in love with or whatever. So the thing is, the guy that made this game is just the worst. He's a terrible, lazy piece of shit that does not know how to code at all, and pretends to. Barely spends any time actually coding, and spends most of his time reading letters and going to his Discord server and whatever. He cannot take the smallest amount of criticism. Like, he will ban anything that is remotely criticizing him in his Discord server. And speaking of which, there's this clip of him consuming boy milk from who knows how long ago, and that will get you instantly banned. But because of the combination of that and the fact that you get so easily banned from a server, people started having more fun going to his server. Yeah, in explosions words, if people are having more fun going to your server and speedrunning getting banned on it, when they are playing your actual game, you are a terrible game developer. He's also become a VTuber with like the most just giant boobed model. It's like, whatever. I mean, I don't fucking care about that. It still feels gross considering he's like a 30-year-old man. I actually don't know how old he is, but he looks 30. And again, he's doing that instead of programming the game. And then there was, of course, the time that people tried to make a game better than his game, and he lost his shit. He's like, no, you couldn't do that. Even though he wrote nothing in his game. His game is made entirely off of Unity-free bullshit. So he had no right to take it down. And so instead, he's like, guys, if you make this game, I'm going to commit But then, in addition to add some more shit to this pile, one of his moderators, one of his Discord moderators, was had a DID, dissociative identity disorder, and he said he said it was cringy roleplay, which you are a fucking VTuber making a game about an anime girl killing other anime girls. You don't have any right to talk about other people being you don't have any ability to talk about other people being cringy role players. In addition to in addition to that, he then banned said moderator, and he only banned one of said moderator's personalities, and the other personality did not know, and he refused to explain it to the other personality. So good job there. And then now I didn't do any research for YandereDev before I made this intro because I already know so much about this piece of shit, and I don't need to spend any more time than necessary having to research him. But yeah, I'm pretty sure said mod committed self-endgame because of that. So good going there, you piece of shit, YandereDev. I also heard that one of his mods is like was like grooming children, but like I don't care about that because that wasn't him. That was just one of his mods, and I'm pretty sure all Discord mods do that. But yeah, so he's just terrible person, just absolutely terrible person. And the first demo came out like 7 years ago. He has still not finished it to this day. It's not even close. Not even fucking close at all. And all the demos of it are just shit. It is shit. Okay. My rant is over now. Behind the Meme self-game end. So Behind the Meme is a YouTube channel that was really popular in 2016 and was basically just like a worse versions of lessons in meme culture, where it would explain memes to people, just not as good. People constantly criticized people, especially Anthony Fantano and Emperor Lemon, heavily criticized his videos for making memes too accessible to quote-unquote normies which was ruining meme culture in their eyes, as well as being low quality, poorly produced, and just not having a lot of effort put into them, as well as him just having an annoying voice. This criticism started out as actual criticism, which he didn't respond to very well. It went way out of hand, and he got ridiculous amounts of criticism. His uploads gradually slowed down until eventually in 2018, he made a 5-part video series in which seemingly built up to his own self-termination. However, his own self-gaming, whatever. However, this was actually fake. And he genuinely did have good intentions when he made it and wanted to make it as like an anti-self-gaming awareness thing, but yeah, it just came across as tasteless. After that, his channel, at least as Behind the Meme, was destroyed. Still up, but he no longer makes Behind the Meme and instead just makes occasional skits, and that's pretty much it. Sidemen Beef. Sidemen is a YouTube channel that's a collaboration of 10 different YouTubers, the most popular of which being KSI. And at one point, KSI left the group, and he started a beef with the other characters where they started like making diss tracks against him and stuff like that. But in reality, this whole beef was just fabricated by him for views, and he admitted that when the beef was over and then rejoined the side. The Caretaker, Everywhere at the End of Time, plus fan albums. So there's this musician called Leland James Kirby, who goes by the alias The Caretaker and works in the music genres of experimental music, ambient music, ballroom music, hauntology, and plunderphonics. The final project he undertook under the Caretaker alias was Everywhere at the End of Time, in which he created 6 albums intended to depict dementia, releasing them each 6 months apart from 2016 and 2019, each album representing a different stage of dementia. Once the final album released, he compiled them all together into a single video, The Caretaker, Everywhere at the End of Time Stages 1 through 6 Complete, which is 6 hours and 30 minutes long. He uploaded this on YouTube on his publishing records account, VVM Test. The album started getting popular on TikTok as a hard to listen to album that breaks you in 2020, and from there it got really popular, as Lillian Herbert was kind of an underground music artist before, but now Everywhere at the End of Time has over 25 million views. I'm now going to describe each of the stages of the album, and the images I'll be showing are the cover art of each album. Stage 1. Here we experience the first signs of memory loss. This stage is most like a beautiful daydream, the glory of old age and recollection, the last of the glory days. The first song of this album, and by proxy the entire Everywhere at the End of Time project, is It's Just a Burning Memory, which is which I'm sure most people have heard. I'm sure most of you have heard, even if you didn't recognize it. I'm going to play it right now. The rest of the songs in Stage 1 are We Don't Have Many Days, Late Afternoon Drifting, Childishly Fresh Eyes, Slightly Bewildered, Things That Are Beautiful and Transient, All That Follows Is True, Autumnal Equinox, Quiet Internal Rebellions, The Loves of My Entire Life, Into Each Other's Eyes, and My Heart Will Stop in Joy. All the songs from this stage are basically just the original song that they were sampled from, but repeated multiple times over the course of a few minutes, and with slowed and reverb added to it. This stage adds up to around 40 minutes in length. Stage 2's description reads: the second stage is the self-realization and awareness that something is wrong, with a refusal to accept that. More effort is made to remember, so memories can be more long-form with a little more deterioration in quality. The overall personal mood is generally lower than the first stage, and at a point before confusion starts setting in. Stage 2 has 10 songs in it. A losing battle is raging, misplaced in time, what does it matter how my heart breaks, glimpses of hope in trying times, surrendering to despair, I still feel as though I'm me, quiet dusk coming early, last moments of pure recall, denial unraveling, and the way ahead feels lonely. This stage is very similar to Stage 1, the key difference here being that whereas Stage 1, the songs, they definitely felt echoey, nostalgic, and you know, they mostly felt nostalgic more so than anything. But with this stage, they feel a lot sadder, and it kind of feels like the song form of the 5 stages of grief. There's also a couple songs that have been repeated from the previous stage that, or at least different covers of said songs being sampled, and some of the songs are slightly distorted, but these distortions are barely noticeable. Stage 3. Stage 3's description reads: here we are presented with some of the last coherent memories before confusion finally rolls in. Oh, I forgot to mention Stage 2 is also like 40 minutes long. Stage 3. Here we are presented with some of the last coherent memories before confusion fully rolls in, and the gray mists form and fade away. Finest moments have been remembered. The musical flow in the places is more confused and tangled. As we progress, some singular memories become more disturbed, isolated, broken, and distant. These are the last embers of awareness before we enter the post-awareness stages. This stage has 16 songs in it: Back There Benjamin, And Heart Breaks, Hidden Sea Buried Deep, Live That's All Joyful Camaraderie, To the Minimal Great Hidden, Sublime Beyond Loss, Bewildered in Other Eyes, Long-Term Dusk Glimpses, Gradations of Arm's Length, Drifting Time Misplaced, Internal Bewildered World, Burning Despair Does Ache, Aching Cavern Without Lucidity, An Empty Bliss Beyond This World, Live at Delay, and Mournful Camaraderie. This is where the songs start really going bad, as the songs become increasingly more distorted as it goes on. For example, the first song, Back There Benjamin, its sample Goodnight My Beautiful playing there's 2 tracks of it playing, with one a couple seconds behind the other, making it sound really confusing and distorted. And throughout as the stage goes on, the song there's various different distortions applied to them that are much more noticeable than they were in stage 3. Stage 4. Oh, and stage 3 adds up to 40 minutes as well. Stage 4. Post-awareness stage 4 is where serenity and the ability to recall singular memories gives way to confusions and horror. It's the beginning of an eventual process where all memories begin to become more fluid through entanglements, repetition, and rupture. Stage 4 marks the beginning of the post-awareness tracks, which means that what that means is that the album, each of the post-awareness tracks only has 4 songs in it as opposed to the others, while stage 4 is being post-awareness confusions, temporary bliss state, and post-awareness confusions. But the songs are barely even noticeable that they're different from one another, because unlike in stages 1 through 3, the lucidity stages, or once one song ends, it very clearly has an ending point, and the next song very clearly has a beginning point. They all just kind of mush together beyond stage 4. But more importantly, the song goes from being just a simple sample of a song, regardless of how distorted that song was, to being just multiple bits and pieces of songs just all mashed together into one like collage of noise. This stage totals to around an hour and a half in length. It's also worth noting there's in the middle of the stage there's this very creepy segment called that's been fan named the Hell Sirens. But yeah, out of nowhere the album the music becomes extremely loud and scary, and it sounds like these air raid sirens. Stage 5. Post-awareness stage 5 confusions and horror. More extreme entanglements, repetition, and rupture can give way to calmer moments. The unfamiliar may sound and feel familiar. Time is often spent only in the moment, leading to isolation. The songs on this stage are Advanced Plaque Entanglements, Stage 5 Synapse Retrogenesis, and Sudden Time Regression into Isolation. This stage feels very similar to stage 4, where it's just a large collage of sounds being mashed together. But at the start of the album, you can faintly hear this. Shortly after the start of the album, you can faintly hear this sort of static. The static gradually becomes louder. It's more like this emptiness, how best I could describe it, that just gradually becomes louder and louder as the album progresses. And about halfway through, the static starts overpowering the music, and by the end of it, it's mostly just this droning static noise. Also, there's this one moment in stage 5, which is like this moment of clarity where all the noises stop and there's just suddenly this clear audible track of music for just a few seconds before it cuts back to the noise. Once again, the stage totals an hour and a half in length, and so does the final stage. Stage 6. Post-awareness stage 6 is without description. This stage has, once again, has 4 tracks to it. A confusion so thick you forget forgetting, a brutal bliss beyond this empty defeat, long decline is over, and place in the world fades away. This stage is just a droning album, really. It's just empty droning noises, and that's basically it. The noises are still sampled from the music like the rest of the tracks, still sampled from the records like the rest of the tracks in the project were, but they're just so heavily heavily stretched out and slowed down that they just become empty droning, and then gradually just becomes emptier and emptier as the album goes on. By the end of stage 6, there's just this organ playing, and that's basically it. And at the very end, the last 5 minutes, I'm not going to describe it because I don't want to spoil it if you want to listen to the album, but it represents a phenomenon at the end of dementia called terminal lucidity, which is like where, like right before someone dies with dementia, for like the last couple hours to days, they can just enter this state of complete clarity, and like a lot of their memories will return back. I don't fully understand it, and it's just this weird thing that baffles everyone, and the album does an amazing job of representing that in the last 5, technically 6 minutes. Now, as for what the fan albums segment of this entry on the iceberg is referring to, what that's referring to is that this album has quite a large fan base on YouTube, and there are several different fan albums based off of it. Some examples are Everywhere at the End of Time with Voices, Nowhere at the Millennium of Space, which is the millennial version, the Care Bears Everywhere at the Beginning of Nowhere, which is kind of just Everywhere at the End of Time, even more detailed. The schizophrenia version of Everywhere at the End of Time. Everywhere at the Death of the Planet. Everywhere at the End of Time, but it's for Gen Z, so on and so forth. Momo Challenge Hoax. There was this so around 4 years ago, there was this urban legend that started in Spanish-speaking communities. And the urban legend was basically like you would sometimes get DM'd by this mysterious account called Momo. And if you responded, they would mostly probably not respond, but on the off chance they did, they would send information indicating that they knew where you were, and then they try to get you to do terrible things like, self-pain inflicting. And then ask for photographic proof that would ultimately culminate in self-gaming. This was just an urban legend, but due to some reports about police saying that there were some people who might have been linked to it, it got blown out of proportion, and the media and 3 years ago specifically, it got blown out of proportion, and everyone just started covering it and saying that it was that it was being hidden in kids' videos, and it was telling kids to hurt themselves and whatever, and it was all completely fake. And if anything, the two videos of it that actually were real were created by the media. It got so bad that YouTube had to censor videos with Momo in it, and you can't even search Momo anymore on the bar. It's been shadow banned, which YouTube, I just want to look at Momo from Avatar. That's all I wanted. But anyway, yeah, there isn't any real truth to it. It's also worth noting that the image I'm showing right now is some sculpture created by a Japanese artist, which for whatever reason became associated with this Momo hoax, although it's unknown why. And I also have to mention this. The news stories that were covering this and saying that the kids' videos were secretly filled with self-hurt messages showed a filthy Frank clip in a Splatoon gameplay video at one point for this. How stupid do you have to be? Luke TheNoteable 100 Days Trademarking Controversy. So there's this YouTuber by the name of Luke TheNoteable who in 2019 created a video titled 100 Days Hardcore Minecraft, where he summarized his playthrough of hardcore Minecraft over the course of 100 in-game days. And for those of you that don't know, hardcore is a game mode in Minecraft where if you die, the entire world gets deleted and all your progress will be lost. So he made this type of video and it became super popular, and so he started making more videos in a similar vein. And he started making more videos in a similar vein, like 100 days in super flat Minecraft, 200 days in hardcore Minecraft, so on and so forth. And it sparked a trend, and several other YouTubers also began making these same kinds of videos. Some of them were fake and were trying to steal money from the actual YouTubers that made these, but most of them were legit and were doing the same concept with their own spin on it. However, despite this, a year after the initial video came out, Luke TheNoteable attempted to copyright the phrase 100 days so that he would have complete control over that genre of videos. Everyone called him out for it, and he apologized, and that was basically the end of the drama. #ChangeTheChannel. This was basically a tag that people would put under their videos to say and protest against the YouTube channel Channel Awesome. Channel Awesome was a YouTube channel created. Well, it originally started off as a single YouTuber, Doug Walker, who uploaded a variety of content, but his most well-known one being Nostalgia Critic. He eventually left YouTube because he was complaining about it. Because he was complaining about he was complaining about the fair use and thought that YouTube wasn't allowing him to have fair use. So he left YouTube and went to its competitor, Blip.tv, where he formed TheGuyWithTheGlasses.com along with a bunch of other creators. Eventually, though, in 2015, Blip.tv closed and he moved to YouTube as Channel Awesome. And shortly after this, 2 years later, a massive document came out detailing a bunch of terrible things that happened, including sexual misconduct from multiple members of the group. One of the employees getting fired for not showing up for 15 minutes, even though the leaders of the group had been infamous for not showing up for long periods of time. Forcing people to work for long hours in the desert with no water, and not firing their terrible CEO, who, in addition to all the terrible human things he did, was just bad as a CEO. So, as a result of this, almost everyone left Channel Awesome, with like only a couple of people remaining, namely Doug Walker and like Cinema, I think is his name. But yeah, almost everyone else has left. The Wall Nostalgia Critic. From one Nostalgia Critic related entry to another. Basically, Nostalgia Critic, when he reviews things, he occasionally does videos which are not reviews, but rather, parodies of other things. And this one was a parody of Pink Floyd's The Wall, the movie version, which is not a movie that I have seen, but I don't think I need to see it to know that Doug Walker's version is shit. For a variety of reasons. First of all, he parodies all the songs in the movie, and he has a terrible singing voice, like one of the worst ones of all time. Second of all, his editing style and animation it looks so cheap and terrible. Third, there's like this part of the movie where like I looked into it, and the original version is like comparing things to World War II, and his version is about Twitter cancel culture, I guess. And then in addition to this, he also just makes fun of like the movie, which was about the singer's trauma, and making fun of. So he makes fun of the singer's trauma, which like it's just gross. And there's also a segment towards the end of it, which where somehow he managed to get this actually really good animator named Fenna, who to like do these like 3D animations, and they're actually like really good looking for how terrible the rest of the review is. Like someone actually put effort into it. It doesn't relate to anything in any way. Their designs are just random for the sake of being random, but like the fact that they managed, how did he manage to get this actually someone who actually cared about what they were doing into this? And then he also has like the lead singer of Slipknot, who doesn't do anything throughout the entire video up until the end when he sings the SpongeBob theme song, which I will admit that's actually kind of funny. But I still don't know how he managed to get the lead singer of Slipknot. And then of course there's the middle of the album, which is, wow, what am I saying? There's the middle of the recording this immediately after that for birthday and time. I'm getting thrown off. But the middle of the video, he does an ad break for HelloFresh. And in this ad break, it's where that famous the meme of him like mashing the keyboard and like pointing at the screen comes from. But then after that, he advertises the music in the video, which he made an album of. And this and he also says there's some songs in said album that were not in his terrible review. I do not intend on listening to them. And he also calls it a love letter to the original movie, and at the end of the video says that he liked it, which like it does not seem like he liked it based on everything that's happening throughout the review. But like he makes fun of this guy's trauma. Like you can't just say you like it after that. But yeah, it's terrible. Onision NS. Onision is a YouTuber whose main claim to fame was in 2006, I think, when he made this music video called "I'm a Banana," where he dressed up as a banana and jumped around saying "I'm a banana." After this, he became a kind of popular early YouTuber, but he basically became universally hated by everyone after repeatedly abusing everyone he was ever in a relationship with. From making fun of his girlfriend's memory loss after she lost literal years of her life, to the condition, to grooming and manipulating multiple people, and grooming his husband into grooming other people, dating several 17-year-olds and younger, despite him growing older over time, and then making up a bunch of ridiculous accusations against these people and slandering them. And like a week ago, he's calling himself a victim of our word, which I would not. Like a week ago, we started doing this. As of now, under normal circumstances, I would not say I don't believe someone, but this is Onision we're talking about, the actual like just a horrible human being who has allegedly done these things himself. So yeah, I would not believe him. H3H3 Stalker. So I want to note that despite this part being labeled as stalker, he is not actually a stalker, and that's just what people call him. Anyway, so there's this YouTuber named Patrice Wilson, and he owned a record label company called Arc Music Factory. And Arc Music Factory was responsible for basically attempting to like make child stars, and it was what made the infamous Friday music video. But it resulted in just extreme ridicule from everyone, including H3H3, who made fun of it a lot. Eventually, the channel just deleted every video on it, replaced its profile picture with this creepy hooded guy, and replaced and all of it was like a single live stream, the thumbnail of which was Patrice Wilson making a creepy face, slightly censored, and the video itself was just a year countdown. It was going to end on December 1st. H3H3 noticed this, and because his videos about making fun of the guy were really popular, so he noticed this and reacted to it live. And as he was doing that, the video started changing and showing some guy walking outside of a random house and then in a graveyard, and then some footage of someone being shot. This people did some research into him and found that he was working for a movie production company, I think. They found out that he was working for like a movie production company that was releasing a series, and this was all just he was working for Sonic Media Network and trying to help promote a TV miniseries, and all this had just been done for promotion. And he also, after December 1st happened and the miniseries came out, he made he came onto live stream and basically explained that the accusations, well, the things that H3H3 said about him and the jokes about him being a kid diddler and stuff like that were really harmful to him. Go figure. It's almost like calling people things like criminals without any base, and just making completely random accusations towards people can hurt people and ruin their lives. Who could have guessed? Hey, yeah, is a music video, which is edited together clips of He-Man, and it's someone singing a cover of the song "What's Up" by Four Non-Blondes in the voice of He-Man, and it became really popular, getting over 200 million views, which is a fifth of the views that the actual "What's Up" Vivo video got. And also, like the music video, the one that this iceberg is referring to was stolen from another video called Fabulous Secret Powers, where it actually came from, but like they're getting money from it, so like it's fine, I guess. The original creators are like, they copyright claimed it, so they'll get the money that the video makes. Johnny, Johnny, yes, Papa. So there's this nursery rhyme that goes, Johnny, Johnny, yes, Papa, eating sugar, no, Papa, telling lies, no, Papa, open your mouth, ha, ha, ha. And this nursery rhyme became really popular in 2018 amongst low-budget animated kids channels, specifically Billy and Surprise Toys. And they went crazy and like deleted a bunch of their characters and replaced them with other characters and like copyright claimed basically every video that talked about them in a desperate attempt to get people to stop talking about them. And basically the only video that still remains of it now is one video by Danny Gonzalez. And it's also worth noting there's this video I'm playing in the background is this weirdly animated Johnny Johnny Yes Papa video by like this called Free Fun Education Nursery Rhymes which was uploaded by the YouTube channel The Big Fish Plays TBFP. And based on their other content, they don't seem to be the kind of channel that would upload this kind of weird thing. So I don't know why all of a sudden they're just a normal channel. Like, I don't know why they upload this all of a sudden. And a bunch of channels that are the creepy kids channels have started taking said video and just replacing different aspects of it and like crappily pumping those videos out. So I don't know what's up with this. Overly long ads. So it's possible when you upload a YouTube video, it doesn't really matter. When you upload a YouTube video and set it to play as an ad, it doesn't matter how long the video is, because as long as there's a skip ad button, you're only going to have to wait a couple seconds, even if the video is multiple days long. As such, it's entirely possible that you can make advertisements that are several hours long. This rarely does happen, but you can do it. Though you'd have to have a lot of money, because the advertisement, it costs, I think, but whatever. I think I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think you might have to pay more money the longer the ad is. But anyway, it's also worth noting that sometimes, due to a glitch, the skip ad button will not exist, and because of that, you might sometimes end up being forced to watch ridiculously long ads. Boogie2988. Boogie2988 is a YouTuber a gaming YouTuber, got popular for his character Francis, which he uses to make fun of the neckbeard gamer stereotype and people and like that. But he's gotten involved in a variety of controversies, from making inappropriate comments about cancer and race and WWII to saying things that show support of Gamergate and things like that. And eventually he ended up having a lot of controversies. But these controversies came to a peak in 2020 or 2021, I mean, when basically he walked up to he was in a fight with another YouTuber, and that YouTuber came up to his house and started harassing him. And so he responded by attempting to defend himself with a gun. He didn't actually shoot the YouTuber, but he did fire a warning shot very carelessly, which could have injured someone, as he shot it into the sky, and it did fall back down somewhere and very much could hurt someone. Thankfully, no one was hurt. The situation was fine, but that was basically when everyone stopped wanting to watch him. Old Town Road. Old Town Road was a music video produced by the music artist Lil Nas X and featuring Billy Ray Cyrus. It was a very popular music video, like extremely popular. It became like #1 song on like the top song of the billboards, but there really, unlike This Is America, there really isn't anything to talk about with this one, because there isn't really any deeper meaning. It's just some guy, Lil Nas X, made a song, and he was really good at marketing it, and it went everywhere. So yeah, that's basically it. Christian NS. Christian is regarded as being the most well-documented person on the internet, and probably in all of human history. To give you an idea as to how well documented she is, there's an entire Wikipedia, dedicated to information about her, and there's a 67-part video series called Christian, a comprehensive series by Gino Samuel 2.1, and each episode is around 40 minutes long, and it's been going on for 3 years. And I haven't watched it, but I don't think it's even caught up to where it is currently. So as for why this is, Christian is someone who is extremely autistic and very easy to manipulate and influence. As such, trolls, mostly from 4chan, basically attempted to make her into some plaything that they could play around with, and just troll by pretending to be different girlfriends and luring her to different locations, only to then prank her when they got there by dressing up in pickle costumes. There's so much to go through, but yeah. But in general, the general story is Christian was born male, and was born male, and as she started growing up, she started working on a comic called Sonichu, which is about Sonic and Pikachu. And this comic gradually, people found it and started making fun of it, and that's what led to them that's what led to them finding Chris Chan and making fun of Chris Chan and trolling Chris Chan, and things just gradually got worse from there. With Chris Chan's mental state declining, they started to believe all kinds of weird delusional things, like that the fictional universes were real and were colliding with their universe. They also they also started searching for girlfriends everywhere and believing any female in a relationship with them was a girlfriend. Eventually, in 2014, despite having been extremely homophobic in the past, they came out as transgender. It's debated as to whether she actually has gender dysmorphia or whether this is the result of her fans manipulating her, or whether this is or if she's just doing this for um because she couldn't find any female girlfriends and thinks that her being a lesbian would get more girlfriends. And this isn't just like a transphobic thing that people think. This is like something that actual transgender people do think. So I'm not really going to comment on that because I don't want to start a war. Um, but um, but anyway, um, things things got things gradually got worse and worse over time. Her house eventually got burned down because of her hoarding tendencies, and eventually in 2020 she started role playing as Sonichu everywhere she went because of the fact that the world was going to hell with like the pandemic and everything, and she just started doing that as a coping mechanism. And then eventually in 2020, I think, yeah, 2021, she had sex with her mother, who was 80 years old and had dementia, non-consensually. And for this, she was arrested, and she remains in jail to this day. And despite that, somehow videos keep popping up about like her opinions on My Little Pony or whatever. Despite her being in jail, how does this keep happening? And also, like a couple weeks ago, there was like it was a hashtag on Twitter like Chris Chan escaped, but think that was just a joke. I don't think she actually escaped. Smash community controversies. So the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate community is an extremely toxic place. It has two major problems. The first one is its toxicity, which is the lesser of the two problems. It's the toxicity that results from people constantly being like, "Oh, my character didn't get in. This game is terrible. Anime swords fight are bad." But the worst thing is the hundreds of allegations there are against multiple members of the community for being predators, basically. The reasoning is probably just because it's a really popular game that has a lot of kids, and the tournaments often have alcohol at them for some reason, and this also combined with the fact that people position the best players on high pedestals and make them and treat them with special priorities and give them like a lot of power, I guess you could say. It would, because of all these things, they just kind of add up together to making a community that's a breeding ground for such terrible things. Also, Sakura said Smash is for good little girls and boys, and that has aged terribly. Alright, so we're about halfway done with this tier of the iceberg, and since it's already been an hour and a half, which is even like 50% longer than the first tier total, I'm going to end part 1 of tier 2 here. So I'm going to do the other half in part 2, and yeah, yeah.